Good evening. Hello. Good afternoon. Good morning, depending on where you are, what time you guys are joining me live, whether you're catching me here right now or you are popping in on the replay. I was very nervous that I was going to be late again tonight because some of you guys might know, but Monzo has some GI issues and he's been having a bad couple of days and he has been so fussy this afternoon. He just has a hard time going to the bathroom. So I took him out to do his number 2 and he just stood there and stared and wasn't so sure if he wanted to go. But I have very exciting news to share. He went to the bathroom. It's a very big deal. And we celebrated it. He got his little piece of cheese like he always does. So, and now we are here, we are live and good to go. So tonight, we are talking about self-care for reactive dog owners. And so for anybody who's just seeing our videos for the first time, hi, my name is Louise Belmont. I co-own Red Pony Dog Training. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, a certified family dog mediator, and a reactive dog expert. I'm also a dog mom and a lot of other things. But I'm here tonight to talk about self-care for reactive dog guardians and why it matters. So if you have any questions or thoughts pop in or you want to share anything, drop them in the comments down below. And same thing if you are joining me on the replay. And I'll be looking over here at my notes to keep me on track as we go along tonight. So caring for a reactive, sensitive, aggressive, fearful, anxious, fill in the blank, caring for these dogs is a long game. So in one of my blogs recently, we were talking about how reactivity isn't really something to be cured, right? There's something wrong with a dog who's sensitive about their environment or their surroundings, but we do have to figure out the best ways to support them throughout their life. We can improve it, we can reduce the intensity, but it's just, there's nothing to cure about it. We can improve it and reduce the intensity, but living and caring for these dogs is a long game. And so I'm here to tell you tonight that you need to prioritize taking care of yourself so that you can show up for your dog every day and you can show up for yourself every day as well. Okay. So let's talk about a couple of things that you can do to prioritize your self-care and your own mental health as you are just kind of coping with being a guardian to these sensitive dogs. I'm going to grab a quick sip of water and we'll jump in. Jake will be very proud of me for drinking water. I haven't finished yet, but I'm working on it. Okay. First off, I invite you and I give you complete permission to skip the walk. Just don't go. There's a number of reasons why. You can skip the walk because you're having a bad day. Maybe you're at your threshold of what you can tolerate. And you know that if you go out for a WALK, if you go out for a walk, Mom's sleeping now, that it's just not going to go well. You're going to be fighting with your dog's going to be fighting with their environment, and it likely won't be successful. And you know what? It's okay to stay home. If you skip the walk with your reactive dog, you're really just practicing management anyway. You're giving yourself a vacation from stress and you are giving them a vacation from stress too. It's a win-win. So what you could do instead is do some sniffing games inside. Monzo loves a toilet paper tube with some kibble in it. And sometimes when we have surplus, some of my clients give me their extra tubes too. Paper towel tubes, wrapping paper tubes, you name it. You can fold over the ends, tuck some kibble in there and hide it throughout the house to let your dog hunt for and work to forage and get that out of there. That can be a great opportunity to replace a walk to give them mental stimulation, foraging opportunities, physical exercise, species typical behaviors, the list goes on. Alternatively, instead of going for a walk, why don't you book a sniff spot? I often will pack a lunch, grab my kombucha, load up Monzo, and we go to a sniff spot, and I can just sit and relax. I don't have to worry about who's coming out of the house. I don't have to worry about the next dog popping into the yard or showing up on the side of the trail when we least expected it. That is really helpful for me to sometimes just skip the opportunity to be hypervigilant and just take a break. Now, if you don't know what Sniff Spot is, head over to sniffspot.com. And I invite you to check out the Golden Dog Playground right in Barrington, New Hampshire. Hands down, it's like an amusement park for dogs at this point. So shout out to Tracy, you're killing it over there. So definitely check that out. If you think a walk might be too stressful, check out Sniff Spot for an opportunity to just take an easy day with your dog. Alternatively, you can do parkour inside with your dog. So during the pandemic, we did this a lot. Monzo actually got a title, parkour quarantine title, because there's a lot of exercises you can do with them right inside. You could set up chairs. You can set up, we use trekking poles over paper towel tubes to make jumps and for them to go under. They can weave around gallon jugs. They can jump up on the couch if they're allowed. There's so many things that dogs can do right inside for parkour, or even agility for that matter, just to get your dog moving. You do not, and I repeat, you do not have to walk your dog. Okay. Next up, take a break from caring for your dog and go on a trip without them. So I love doing things with my dogs. And at this stage of my life, I'm prioritizing soaking up every drop of time I have with Monzo. It wasn't always that way. I used to board Piper and get a pet sitter for Monzo so Jake and I could go on a trip. We needed those trips at that time. So it is perfectly acceptable to hire a dog walker so you can take a day trip and, maybe go to Arethusa Falls and go for a hike by yourself. You could hire a pet sitter so that you could just go out to lunch by yourself. Take yourself out to lunch and see how you like it. Alternatively, you could book a day at the spa, or if you don't have that much time, go get a facial. And in fact, I invite you to check out Banana Peels in Dover. Shout out to Anna. Oh my goodness. If you've never had a facial, you need to check them out. Talk about deep relaxation. But you need to treat yourself every now and again. And that's not even a treat. That's just self-care. If you need a break, take a break from your dog. They will be okay without you for a short amount of time. And if they aren't, then I give you complete permission to board your dog or hire a pet sitter. Maybe you take a long weekend to yourself. Now, this may sound silly if you're listening to this and your dog is, maybe their reactivity is mild. Maybe you have a dog who has separation anxiety, though. That's a chore. It's a chore. And it's a blessing at the same time, but it's okay to want to take a break from your dog, and it's okay to need to take a break from your dog. Okay. Now, next up, I want you to tell yourself it's okay to ask for help. And I want you to be specific. Sometimes it's just hard to trust other people with your dog. So I ask you, can someone else watch your dog while you go get some me time? Or maybe you could ask someone to run errands for you, like even to asking them to go grocery shopping for you so that you can just have some time to yourself at home. If you're a busy mom or if you're working full time and then you come home and you're the sole caregiver for your dog as well, it's a lot. It's a lot. And you have to show up and be ready to handle the stress of navigating the world with your reactive dog and being hypervigilant out there with them. For those of you guys who've joined me in reactivity rehab, we've talked about this at length. It's exhausting and it's hard, but it's okay to ask for help. And if you don't want to ask a friend to go grocery shopping for you, I invite you to try Hannaford to go. It saved my life when Jake was recovering from his concussion and, of course, during the pandemic. And lastly, ask your spouse for help. Okay, if you have a partner at home, tell them exactly what you need of them and tell them what they can do and when. So personally, I'm a control freak. And when Jake moved in, when we were just dating, he moved himself in, by the way, that's a topic for another day. He, offered to come home in the middle of the day to take the dogs for a walk. And I was like, no No way. There's no way you could do it near half as good as I can. There's just no way. But the thing is, he did great. And so it's really hard to trust people. And maybe you're not gonna, maybe your husband isn't, or your partner, or your teenage children, maybe they aren't involved in the training. And maybe the dog needs exercise and you need a break. So you could ask them to do sniffing games inside. You could ask them to do some parkour or agility inside as well. Be specific and just ask. Okay. It's important for everybody to be on the same page in the home as well. And so asking for help right within your family, so critical and super helpful. Hey, Ray, I just saw your note that you're making one live. Yay. Glad you could join us. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about mindset, because there's a lot around this and how we feel and how the world tells us having a reactive dog is. So I want you guys to think about, those of you watching live and anybody catching up on the replay, what does it mean to have a reactive dog? Or rather, what does having a reactive dog mean? What is it that we tell ourselves? So for me, when Monzo was about a year old and he was reactive, I was frustrated. But then when I got Piper shortly thereafter and I had 2 reactive dogs, the story I told myself was that I wasn't a good enough trainer and that I wasn't a good mother to them. That's what it meant to have reactive dogs. But the reality is those are just stories that we tell ourselves. And so I'm realizing the older I get, the way we talk to ourselves, our self-talk, and what our brain tells us about ourselves, it's all lies. You know, when we sit there and we're feeling stressed and our emotional cup is empty, and we start telling ourselves like, "Oh, my dog's never going to get better," or I feel so embarrassed. Clearly, this dog's behavior is my fault. That's all lies, you guys. It's not even true. And it's just your stress talking, because the fact of the matter is reactive dogs are good dogs. All dogs are good dogs. Okay. And you are not making your dog this way. And this is not your fault. So can we do something about it? Of course we can. And there's so much that we can do to improve our dog's behavior, but you didn't make them this way. You didn't create this problem. And I don't want you to let anyone tell you otherwise. Okay. I want you to say this. This is not the story we choose to believe. Okay. I know I'm getting all woo-woo on you guys, but this is the kind of stuff that we get really deep into in reactivity rehab, because dog training is people training. And if you want to help your dog, you have to help yourself. You have to find the strength and the courage and the confidence to face each day with a dog who is going to be barking at the end of that leash. It's embarrassing and it's difficult, but it can be done. Okay. So that's not the story we choose to tell ourselves. So what I want you to do, I know we only have a few people popping on live, but if you're watching the replay, if you've got to this point, you've made me a promise you didn't realize you were making, go get a Post-it note. So I'll wait a second. Go grab a scrap of paper, a note card, or grab your phone, write it in your phone for now. And what you're going to do is you're going to write yourself a love letter. You're going to start with this. So you got your paper, you got your pen, write yourself a love letter. My dog is a great dog. So that's what you're going to start with. My dog is a great dog. And then the next line is, and I am a great fill in the blank. So it just depends on how you kind of identify to your dog. So my dog is a great dog and I'm a great mother, trainer, guardian, coach, advocate, friend, fill in the blank, all or one, whatever you feel, whatever kind of really feels good about you and your relationship with your dog. And then I want you to hang it up on the mirror or on your front door when you go out with your dog, because I want you to remind yourself that you're killing it. You're killing it. You're showing up each day, promising your dog a home and taking exceptional care of them. Okay. And if you can, when you can do more, you'll do more. And when you want to do more, I'm right here ready to help you. Okay. So love letter to yourself. Do it. Send me a picture if you want extra credit. Okay. So earlier this week, we talked about decompression and completing the stress cycle for dogs. It's exactly the same for people. So many of you know that recently our dog Piper transitioned. And, you know, we're still not okay. Dealing with that kind of a loss it's unthinkable. But the thing is that I have had to make time to work through my stress cycle because I cannot give from an empty cup. Tell me in the comments if you guys have heard of the analogy of like your emotional cup. When your cup is empty, you're not your best self. You can't help others. You can't help yourself. But when your cup is full, you are, I don't want to say the best version of yourself, but you can do more. You're capable of handling more things. You're capable of taking care of yourself and others, putting your best foot forward. That's what we'll say. So what I have been prioritizing for myself is self-care, which is why we're talking about it today. And the way I do that is I might sit outside and read. I keep looking this way because this is where my hummingbird feeder is. I sit right outside here. I read my book. And when I hear their wings, I freeze and I look around. So yeah, the other thing I do is I watch hummingbirds often. When Jake comes home, I'll be standing at the window staring at my hummingbird feeder. Sometimes I watch TV. Sometimes that helps me complete my stress cycle. I spend time with people who are supportive to me. I walk in the woods. I take Monzo for walks. I hang out with Monzo and my husband. Those are the things that I do to help me complete my stress cycle and kind of work through those difficult things that I have to go through. And so I want you to be thinking about what refills your cup. And I want you to promise me something. If you're having a bad week or bad day, and your dog is having a bad day and or one or the other or both, I want you to prioritize scheduling some extra time just for yourself, because you have to take care of yourself to be able to take care of your dog. You know, so many of my clients go above and beyond for their dogs. It's just like I have goosebumps talking about it. I aspire to be some of my students, some of my clients. And most of you guys watching tonight, I know you are that kind of pet parent or guardian. And so when we look at how we take care of our dogs, I want you to ask yourself, do you take care of yourself just as well? What you give to your dog, can you reflect it back to you when you look in a mirror? And it is so important, and I know I'm echoing and saying the same thing over and over, that we really do take a moment to sit down and make sure we're taking care of ourselves, okay? Because this is hard. Being a guardian to a sensitive dog is not for the lighthearted, and it's often not what we signed up for. But when we found ourselves with this kind of an animal in our home, we rose to the occasion. And we're doing the best we can for them. And that's all we can ask. So thanks for letting me ramble about self-care. This is just as important as any other topic, okay? It's not training. It's not clicker training. It's not management. It's not working thresholds. It's not actively engaging with your dog. And yet it is equally as important. And this is why there's a whole module dedicated to this kind of stuff in reactivity rehab, because we can't address the full picture without talking about the other end of the leash, okay? All right, you guys, thanks for listening. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments down below. I'm going to start wrapping up for the night. So today was our last video in our week-long series on reactivity. I'd love to hear if you guys liked this. If there's another subject, if you want me to keep talking about reactivity, or if there's a specific concern or thought you guys have, if you want us to do another live series another time, I'd love to hear about it. It's a lot to set aside the time, but I did it. And it worked out, so yay. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. Don't forget the promises you made. You're going to write your love letter to yourself and prioritize taking care of yourself. Maybe even make a list of the things that help you complete your stress cycle. Thanks for joining me tonight and for joining me all week long. I hope you learned something. Tell your dog I said hi, give them a treat from me, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.